Midnight is right around the corner, so it's time to pick a main, people. In today's video, I'm gonna go over my selection process for how I am picking my main for the next expansion. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and it's the final countdown. I have been racking my brain as to how to construct this video, and I think this is for the best. I plan on maining Survival Hunter at the start of Midnight, and I plan my main alts to be Warlock, Death Knight, and Paladin. And in this video, I want to go over why I've gravitated to Survival Hunter so much and so quickly, because this has only happened in the last week or so. I had gone into Midnight expecting to main Paladin, simply because Blood Elf Paladin with the Midnight aesthetic, right? When it comes to things that I enjoy in this game, my strike zone is rather wide. But ever since I decided to give Survival Hunter a bash over the last week or so, I find myself wanting to play it more and more. And every time I log into World of Warcraft and go, what do I want to play today in the autumn of the War Within? I keep going back to Survival Hunter. There's just something about this that I find so fun and enjoyable. Now, there is something I want to talk about right now, and that is the Midnight class changes overall. For me, there hasn't been a class outside of Death Knight that has been changed with Midnight that I found more enjoyable after the changes. Again, the only exception is Death Knight. Paladin is a wash for me. I didn't play Warlock really in the War Within, and just for context, my two mains during the War Within were primarily Death Knight and Paladin, though I did dabble into like Marksmanship Hunter for a little bit. And if you had asked me this question like a couple weeks ago, I was kind of expecting to go into Midnight playing maybe Shaman or Warrior, and I still very much enjoy these classes. It's just what I like out of these classes. I get the same amount of enjoyment, if not more, or I get some other benefit on top of that enjoyment from these four classes right here. I like Arms Warrior, but it's Blizzard. For some reason, they hate Arms Warrior. And if I'm going to play a melee, I get the same level of enjoyment as I get out of Warrior, both Fury and Arms. I wanted DPS, by the way, as I get out of Retribution Paladin, Frost, and Unholy DK, and Survival Hunter. I really like Shaman. I love Enhancement, and I love Elemental, but I have played a bit of Shaman before the Midnight changes. And whenever I play Shaman post Midnight pre-patch, I just kind of miss the utility that has been lost, and I miss the buttons. And when I play Totemic Enhancement Shaman, which is probably my favorite form of Shaman right now, man, I really kind of miss having more than one totem at a time. It's like, yeah, you can randomly spawn in or just passively bring in other totems sometimes, but I used to play Shaman quite a bit at like the end of Cataclysm and throughout Mists of Pandaria. Mists of Pandaria Elemental Shaman is one of my favorite classes and specs overall that Blizzard have ever made. I love that thing absolutely to death, and I love Warlords of Draenor. And in a lot of ways, a lot of the elements of what I liked about Shaman back then are still here, mainly multi-strike. That's for Elemental. But one of the things I always liked about Shaman were the totems, because they were cool, but they really reined in that design. And like, yeah, mechanically it's fine, and I think Searching Totem looks pretty cool, even though I do kind of wish the totem was individualized to my race instead of just looking like an up-res like Torrent Totem or something. But whenever I play Shaman, I like it, don't get me wrong, but the things that I like out of it, the pace, the feeling, the meat behind all your button inputs, I get that same level of enjoyment out from other classes and specs right now. Though I will say, like, my god, it's a visual feast for the eyes. I love Shaman a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in Midnight I do play it as an alt. It's just every now and then the changes made with Midnight depress me just a little bit, and it kind of puts me off Shaman. A lot of the other classes are either aesthetics and overall playstyles I'm just traditionally not that big of a fan of, or something else just does it more in line with my preferences. I don't have a Horde Evoker yet, but I have played a bit of Evoker, nothing at like a mid to high end level, but Evoker is not my preference, so that gets cut. I'm not too big of a fan of Monk traditionally, and it's never been something I've wanted to main. Demon Hunter, I actually like Demon Hunter, and I played it quite a bit during Legion Remix, but again, the Midnight changes come in, rearing their ugly head. Havoc's a non-starter for me, mainly because of this button right right here, or lack of a button, Demon Blades. I hate this thing conceptually. I despise this button. Or again, the lack of a button. And we're going to readdress this point when we get to Retribution Paladin. But also, man, it's kind of like Shaman, where I miss the totems. I miss my sigils, man. I feel like I wish they tried to make the sigils more interesting mechanically instead of just removing them from the rotation. I really like them. And when it comes to Devourer, I like Devourer. It's that old Surrender to Madness Shadow Priest playstyle from the days of old, and it is really cool, don't get me wrong. However, that Surrender to Madness, it's not stressful for some people, but for me, I qualify it as like a stressful overall rotation, where you're trying to stay in meta for as long as possible and get as like many collapsing stars out as humanly possible. It is a really cool spec, don't get me wrong. Really dang cool, especially with like these talents, like you're jumping in and out of melee range all the time. It's really cool. Whenever it goes down to like consume span, it makes me want to like log out and unsubscribe. I hate this thing, but it's just a playstyle that I wouldn't want out of a main. It's just sheer personal preference. Now, Paladin, I am definitely going to play Paladin at some point in Midnight, rather early on as well. It's going to happen for one simple reason, and it's not because of the playstyle. It's not because of how good or bad Paladin is, particularly Retribution Paladin. It's not about how cool the buttons are or how cool Templar is. I love Templar overall. There's a very specific reason I'm going to level and use a Paladin in Midnight. This set right here. Oh my god, I love this thing. And I particularly love the heroic tint, especially for like a Blood Elf. I absolutely adore this set, and I adore a lot of the Midnight sets and how they would look for Paladin. Having said that, kind of like what we talked about with Demon Blades for Havoc, if I ever feel like I have to use Crusading Strikes and they make this much better than Templar Strikes, I'm going to lose it. I tend to like a class and a spec in World of Warcraft that maybe is a little bit simple, but it's fast-paced and the buttons you press are hard-hitting. Retribution Paladin has the pace. It has the meat behind the abilities you press. I like that. But if I ever have to actually use Crusading Strikes and it grinds my playstyle to a halt sometimes and I just get massive downtime, it takes me out of it immediately. I have never been a fan of Crusading Strikes. I've always tried to ignore it to the best of my abilities. If I ever feel the need to use this, it's going to kill me inside. I am not picking my main solely based on like numbers or anything like that. Numbers are always subject to change. I care about how fun my buttons are to press. Now, that is a severely like subjective thing, but also at the end of the day, we are playing a video game. We have to maximize our own enjoyment out of it, right? So for me, the three classes I am paying the most attention to going into Midnight are Hunter, Warlock, and Death Knight. There is something I want to talk about going into Midnight. For me, traditionally, I have mained Paladin or Death Knight. Not always. Like back in Mr. Pandaria, I mained Shaman. Sometimes I would main Warrior. A lot of the times in my history with this game, I have mained Death Knight or Paladin. I love these two guys, right? But having said that, going into Midnight, a lot of classes feel worse to me going from the War Within to Midnight that I have personally played. Not all of them. I haven't tested all of them in Midnight, but of the ones that I have played, like Warrior and Shaman, etc., and also Paladin, they either on the same level or not as enjoyable to me. Death Knight is the exception. Oh, I guess also like Demon Hunter for one that I don't like as much. But Demon Hunter has traditionally not been something I've made. Death Knight has been. And Death Knight and Midnight, I quite enjoy. I like the 11.2 redesign for Frost DK. I have had an on and off again relationship with Frost DK. I played it quite a bit in the War Within. I have stayed away from Unholy because I didn't like Festering Wounds. For me, it just had too much buildup. Here though, with the Unholy DK redesign, there is something very simple about it that I think is so dang cool and makes me want to play it even more. Allow me to demonstrate. Just look at everything that is on your screen right now. Rider of the Apocalypse, Rider of the Apocalypse was summoning abominations, maguses of the dead, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and a whole bunch of ghouls. Bro, this is so dang cool. It is. And it's a playstyle that, yeah, it is a builder spender in a way, but it's simple, but it feels good overall. So not only is Unholy really dang cool right now, but I also have the option to go Frost DK, and I just really like Death Knight. The only reason this probably isn't my main going into Midnight is a giant theme for me going into Midnight. I want to change. I played Death Knight quite a bit in the War Within, and I simply want to main something else. Maybe over time, if I fall out of love with like Survival Hunter or even Warlock, we're about to get to, I might default back to Death Knight, but this thing is a ton of fun. Now for Warlock. I haven't really played a ton of Warlock since Mr. Pandaria. I've dabbled, but never really seriously. And I've heard that Warlock is one of the victims of the pruning with Midnight. A lot are, but I hear Warlock is as well. Thankfully, I don't have the reference point of like the War Within Warlock to compare and contrast like I can with Shaman and Paladin. For me, I've tested out all 3 specs for Warlock, and I enjoy all 3. With the slight exception of Affliction, but I can play it. Just the dot-based classes have never really been my cup of tea. Destruction's a bit too simple for my preferences, but I can play it. And Demonology, my god. The rotation is, I would argue, a bit simple. It's builder spender to like the truest sense of the word, right? However, just seeing all the demons just come out, man, it's cool. And you know what? Sometimes, maybe a lot of the times, there's nothing wrong with something just being really dang cool. And just summoning a bunch of demons in and just like having your imps go in and explode on your enemies. You know what? It's freaking cool, man. It is. It's simply cool. It's fun. I like the procs you get, especially with like Diabolist. I think it's really dang fun. It's enjoyable. And the thing that used to like ward me away from Legion onwards Demonology was the ramp up and build up with Demonology. It always put me off from ever really trying it out. And well, yeah, you can argue it's there a little bit right now. It's far more manageable to me, and you get rolling with this thing rather quickly, and it's to a point, man, it's a fun rotation, and I love just bringing in the Hands of Gul'dan. I love summoning in the Pit Lords and the main demons you get with Diabolist. It's just really cool, man. It is. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and you know what? Does it need to be more than that to be something that I want to play? And I would argue no. And if for whatever reason Blizzard decides to make this turbo crap, and if I want to play Warlock, I can play Destruction. I can play Affliction if I need to. I can. They're not my preferences, but they're enjoyable enough for me. And it's also different enough to what I have traditionally played since my return to World of Warcraft, where it's a breath of fresh air for me.
I know.
Now, why do I enjoy Survival Hunter so much? I'm not even sure if I entirely know myself. There's just something about it that has this gravitational pull for me that makes me keep coming back to it and wanting more. Even now that we're only a couple of days away from Midnight, I find myself logging into World of Warcraft simply to want to play Survival Hunter. It's a rather simplistic rotation, but man does it feel good. And yeah, is it kind of stupid that one of our big abilities is called Boomstick, and you just bust out a shotgun and blast some jabronis like 4 times with it? Yeah, it's a little bit goofy, don't get me wrong. However, am I ever gonna be upset that I pull out a shotgun in any video game that I play? No, bro, it could be Animal Crossing. If I bust out a shotgun and blast away Tom Nook, I'm not gonna complain. I think what I enjoy so much with Survival Hunter is that every button you press feels impactful, and it also has a really good pace to it. Survival has a rather simplistic playstyle. You use kill command to get tip of the spear stacks, and then you spend them on just your GCDs. It's simple, but god, every button you press feels good, man. It does. It's like when your gap closer is throw a harpoon at him and charge him. That's just cool. There's coolness top to bottom when it comes to Survival Hunter, and it just feels good. And you know what? I kind of like having a pet. It's something nice just on the top of everything else, and it feels good. That's basically my summation of Survival Hunter. It just feels good. Whenever I play it, I am having a good time. I like positioning for like Boomstick and Wildfire Bomb. Is it simplistic? Absolutely. But does it feel good? Also, yes. Was I kind of incentivized to try out Survival Hunter simply because of this hood? Yeah, but I'm glad I did it. And I think I knew I was going to main Survival Hunter when, even with only like a week or 2 left for the War Within, I just found myself doing Mythic Plus more frequently than I ever have before, simply because because I was enjoying it. And I was enjoying it partly because Mythic Plus is like shockingly easy right now, but also Survival Hunter was just so much fun for me. I wanted to try something different. I've never actually mained a hunter before in World of Warcraft. I might be the only person that actually applies to. I'm not big on Beastmaster, but I don't mind marksmanship. But survival is what I've really fallen in love with. And I think for a game like World of Warcraft, it's important to be able to identify when you need to mix things up a bit. When you need to be willing to go and say, hey, I think it's time for a change. Let's expand our horizons. Let's try something outside of our comfort zone and something a little bit different to the norm. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't. But I'm not going to really know beyond a shadow of a doubt unless I try it for myself. I also know that I do have a preference to melee. So I'll use my Warlock and my DK as an alt. I'll also have to do it with Paladin because, like I said, I need that tier set. But for the thing I want to play the most, the buttons I wish to press the most, it's Survival Hunter. It's fun. I like the utility that I have access to with the traps, with my pet. I like the movement options I have available on Hunter with like Aspect of the Cheetah, with Disengage, with Harpoon. Like, look at this. It's so good. And I have another one because of Takedown. Shorter range, but still, it's fun, dude. The class you play, the spec you play, is the lens with which you view and interact with the entire game. If I'm not enjoying the buttons that I'm pressing, that's going to compromise my enjoyment with the content that I'm doing. And for me, I simply like mixing it up every now and then. And when it comes to Midnight, trying out something that I haven't really ever made before, especially in an expansion known for pruning a whole bunch of different classes, I think I'm putting myself in the best position to enjoy playing World of Warcraft. And to me, that is like the overarching rule that should always be followed when deciding what to play. What's going to put you in the best position to enjoy playing the game? Because at the end of the day, it is a video game. You should do what you can to maximize your own enjoyment with it. And here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with what you are maining in World of Warcraft Midnight. Are you sticking with same old, or are you branching out and trying something new like I am? I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And when you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And guys, they put out a whole new animation, this time for Eretor. Honestly, I don't like the guy. So let's go check it out and talk about Eretor as a character. Want to find out more? Check out this video right here. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye, everybody. Until we meet again.